Just basically we're going to do the same. It's all going that way, thank you.
Morning everybody, and thank you all for coming today. I think the weather is going to hold for us, so it's lovely to be here, and we have the Mayor and Mayoress of Wirral Council here, which I'm going to pass over to you now. We do have lots of partners here as well today, Environment Agency and Volkerstedden as well, some of our key partners in producing this scheme. This date has been in the diary for some time now, so we wanted to honour that, and you will see, yes, there are some work still to be done, but we are nearly there on a scheme that's been many years in the making. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you to our Mayor of Wirral, Councillor Jeff Green.
Thank you. Thanks, Nikki. And thanks and welcome, everyone, for joining us here today. I have to say, been a councillor, local councillor for years, but I can remember the various preparation and planning meetings when it was decided we were going to do this. I can remember wearing the alternative reality goggles when you actually got to see what it was going to be like. And I have to say, it looks absolutely brilliant. We've heard so many times, there won't be enough benches, we won't be able to see, there won't be a shelter. And it's great to see the amount of seating that's going to be available for people in the shelter and this amazing performance space. I mean, I can remember West Kirby Baths site, the old West Kirby Baths site, and to see what you have all achieved with this is absolutely tremendous. So it really is a real pleasure to be here to officially mark the completion of the West Kirby Flood Alleviation Scheme. It is true, as Nikki has said, that there's still one or two bits to finish off, but also I'm delighted to hear from Nikki and others that the ovens, that are affectionately known, that we'll actually be finishing off the ovens with the benches around Victoria Park and other elements, and there will be something more substantial to mark the opening of the promenade as we move forward. So finishing touches still to be done, but the main wall has been constructed and installed successfully, and as we've said, much of the associated works. It is truly tremendous to actually see what has been achieved. As a local councillor, I have to tell you, I've written to Nikki on many occasions talking about the lights not working and the condition of the roadway and pavements, but to see this complete transformation is amazing. So hopefully, Nikki, you won't be getting as many letters from residents and others about this. I'm particularly pleased to welcome our friends representing the Environment Agency here, without whom this scheme would not have been possible. I've had a lovely chat with the Chief Executive, John Curtin, who will be able to talk in greater detail about the environmental and climate change reasons why it was essential that this flood wall was built here in West Kirby. They saw it as so important that they've backed it, and they have backed it with millions of pounds of flood defence government funding from much sought after budgets, and we thank them for that. And one of the great things for me, and you do see these things from around the country, is that the Environment Agency have said, as far as West Kirby is concerned, and the flooding and erosion, this far and no further, and that they are prepared to invest vast sums of money to protect the people of West Kirby and to keep this part of the peninsula protected. I must also at this stage thank council officers who I know have had to undergo personal criticism, a whole range of things by people who couldn't see or hadn't seen what an amazing facility this will be, an amazing amenity this will be for the public. So big thanks to Nikki, and a huge thanks to all the officers who've steered the project over the past few years to get it to this point. And that includes bidding successfully for the funding and arguing West Kirby's case against some of those other coastal areas at risk around the country that I've already talked about. So well done to everyone concerned. It's great to see David, who's taken a fair amount of personal animus as this has gone forward, and has always been keen to try and solve problems and deal with the issues, and to think about the public and what needs to be done by the people who are putting this thing together. Gosh, that was a long page, wasn't it? So I'd like to thank the contractors, Volkers 7 for, and we've got representatives from Volkers here today who'll talk in more detail about the challenges they've faced over the course of the project. Clearly, it hasn't been a straightforward programme, and there has, there's been a war since it started. Costs have gone up. We've had to work in different ways. So it's well documented that there have been some delays, but throughout it all, they've found solutions, worked hard to catch up when needed, and at all times, they sought to make sure that people who live and have businesses around here have known what's going on and tried disruption to a minimum. And this was inevitably going to be caused, but they have tried to keep that to a minimum. And if I might say so, the Mayoress, Carol, over there, and my daughters are huge walkers around the lake, and the lake became enormously important to people during lockdown and the pandemic. And I've had continuous reports about actually, when I've been down here myself, how well Volkers did to make sure that the people could still get round the lake, they could still enjoy that walk. It was difficult at times, but you've done a heroic job on that. So my personal thanks for the huge amount of effort you put in to keep the lake available to people and that walk available to people. For many, what they see delivered here is a flood wall, something that will be used for its primary purpose only a few times a year. That's not to play down its importance as a flood defence, and as we'll find out, it's becoming increasingly important that West Kirby is protected. But what I also see, I'm particularly excited about, especially as a local councillor for the area for many years, is the complete revamp of our beloved promenade. Local people and ourselves as councillors, and Simon Mountney, one of my fellow ward councillors, is here today, and I'm glad we've done it at the West Kirby and Thurston end, that we're actually going to have the plaque. That what we've seen, we as local councillors, we've had our say on what we wanted to see, as have local people, and we've been listened to in the main. But people have been engaged with, listened to, and have been responded. And I think, the wave shape and the seating and what you've done with the public realm is a classic example of that. So the design of the wall itself, the continuous wave effect, is a very attractive feature. Now it can be seen in all its glory, as well as fending off potential flood waters. It's also providing, as John Curtin, if I can get through my wet paper, as I mentioned earlier, from the Environment Agency said when he visited earlier this year, possibly the longest continuous bench seating found anywhere in the country. So, as we move forward toward the summer, I can't wait to see visitors sat side by side along the length of the wall with their ice creams, fish and chips, or whatever, taking in those fantastic views across to North Wales, which is still just about visible despite the weather. And I'm pleased to say, very soon, the memorial plaques that loved ones have paid for to be mounted on the old benches that lined the promenade previously will be re-provided on the new wall. And then we have the surface road, the cycle lane, new parking spaces, new street lighting, this new performance space. This isn't just about a wall. we have a revitalised West Kirby waterfront. And I will be delighted, as one of my final acts as Wirral's Mayor, to officially declare it open shortly. So, thank you one and all for being here, and thank you Environment Agency, Volkers and all the other people, council officers that have worked so hard to get to this point. Thank you very much. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm now going to invite John Curtin, who's the Chief Exec of the Environment Agency, just to say a few words. John.
Thanks, Nikki, and thank you, Mayor, Councillor Jeff Green, for inviting me to this opening. I can see there's lots of umbrellas, but if you're responsible for the Environment Agency, where one year it's drought and another year it's flooding, a steady drizzle is the best thing in my working life, okay? So I'm going to embrace it here. So it was actually a real privilege in February to come here and see the scheme in construction. One of the joys of this job is going out and about this country and seeing the different work that was done. But I actually was really struck by this project for a couple of reasons. One was the fantastic team working across Wirral Council, Volkers Stephen, Environment Agency, ACON, the designers. The way that the team have worked together to come together to overcome certain problems in the scheme and work so closely with the community is really outstanding. So that was a great thank you and a great thing to see. And the second thing I was really struck by, to be honest, was Nikki and her team and their passion for West Kirby and the communities they serve. We spent as much time learning about West Kirby, of which I will now return on holiday, as we've said, as well as the scheme. And actually that passion for the community and what you do here really came through and doesn't always and everywhere I go. So a big shout out to your team, Nikki, especially Simon Fox, Neil Thomas, Mark Wardle, Alan Williams, Colin Clayton and David Armstrong. A fantastic job by the team, so well done. And the serving of coastal communities has many facets, but one of them will be the challenge of climate change. And as the Mayor said, I just want to mention something on that. There are lots of reports about climate change, but I'll give you one line that focuses my mind as Chief Executive of the EA the most. And in a recent International Panel of Climate Change report, they said the following, which was by 2050, what was a once-in-a-century storm on the coast will be an annual event. And here's the killer line, under all climate scenarios. Okay, so even if we don't produce another ounce of carbon in the world, which is unlikely, that is the inevitable future we face on our coasts, which means schemes like this are absolutely essential to protect but also help coastal communities thrive. And actually this fantastic flood scheme at West Kirby, I think, as the Mayor said, is a great example of how you can build in that resilience, climate resilience to a community, but also regenerate it, add extra benefits and meet all of the passionate community concerns that I've heard from the team here. So that is a fantastic example of what can be done with the investment for flood protection to also protect communities. So finally, I just want to say you should be all immensely proud of what you've created with this project. I see a lot of them, and there are not lots of better ones than this. And I know I feel privileged to even have been just a small part and be here today. So thank you all. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you, John. Now, we're going to have Mark Cronshaw, our Volkersteden partner here, for his role is around Director of Environment Framework, and he's going to say a few words about the scheme.
Excellent, thank you very much. I'm with you, John. I like the light drizzle, especially because I've got a waterproof head. But I'm Mark Cronshaw from Volkersteden. I'm not used to public speaking, as you can tell, so please bear with me. But it is amazing to be here today, and so pleased that you've all joined us. From a Volkersteden perspective, it's fantastic to have been given the opportunity to work on a scheme like this, to help develop it from the early stages, and it being such an important flagship flood defence scheme for the Environment Agency and Wirral Borough Council. This is, in fact, the first to be delivered under the EA's Collaborative Delivery Framework arrangements. It's playing a key part, as John has said, in the national flood defence infrastructure, protecting communities from the devastating impacts of flooding. But hopefully, more than anything, I think it's clearly also going to enhance this already stunning For a variety of reasons, this project has had its challenges, but as you can see, we're very much nearing completion now, and the finished sections are looking absolutely amazing in my mind. And this bathsite area here is going to be fantastic moving forward. You can already see it teeming with many people. Obviously, for us, what you see here is not all of it. The team have put an awful lot of effort in, and much of the hard work is all underground. And that's where many of the challenges were found. As John also said, it's been a shining example, I think, of collaboration within a fully integrated team with ACOM, Wirral, everybody involved, you know, enabling us to solve problems quickly, effectively, and achieve great things. For me, just a few thank yous, I suppose. There's too many people to mention, but Wirral Borough Council in particular, Neil, Simon, Nicky, and the rest of the team for embracing this collaborative way of working and making this project a reality. From the EA, again, in particular, Elizabeth and Ian Lockhart, they've both gone out of their way to make this project a success and provide access to the Northwest Integrated Delivery Team. ACOM, fantastic design, and I know they're still working their socks off trying to finalise bits and bobs for us, but again, fantastic design, not seen one like it, and I think it's going to be a great legacy to leave behind. Key supply chain partners, the likes of More Concrete, PLS, Multipave, all played a huge part in delivering this scheme. Couldn't do any of it without them. And our team, of course, led by Mark Wood, got the foreman Gavin and Craig, and the entire team really, and a particular thanks to Alison, who's worked in the public drop-in centre. I think that's been absolutely invaluable. And I'm sure I've missed loads of people, but I know how hard, how intense this programme's been, this project's been to deliver. So from me, that's very much appreciated. Volkstevin, been massively proud to play a part in this, delivering this scheme, and I'm sure it'll provide a lot of value to the local community for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I'm just going to pass you over to the Mayor of Wirral to officially unveil the plaque. We are
Massive
getting
plaque.
massive plaque. Yes, we are getting. There will be more elaborate celebration of the plaque in the coming months as we finish off the final elements to the scheme. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Would you like your flannel back now?
Okay, so thank you everybody for attending.